Hello everyone, my name is Ch15. Today I'm going to talk about the political economy. First, let's see some key terms and main objectives. In this chapter, we will learn about the political economy, the political economic approach, and we will compare the critical political economy to classical political economy. And we will know about the Edward Hillman, who wrote the book Media in the U.S. Political Economy. He proposed a theory in this book named propaganda model. There are 5 filters in this model. Next is the main objectives. One is how political economy related to the mass media, and another is highlight the validity to propaganda model. This time, I think you will have a question, what is the political economy? I think this word is very unfamiliar to us. So next, I will introduce this theory of political economy. The theory of political economy. There are 4 key features of a political economic approach. The first is the media studied holistically. The second one is requires a historical perspective, noting changes over a period of time. The third one is involves a concern about the balance between capitalist enterprise and public intervention. The last one is involves a commitment to moral philosophy requiring attention to concerns about justice, equality, and the public good. And there are 2 kinds of political economy. The first one is critical political economy. It is concerned primarily with power and how it is constituted and executed. The another one is classical political economy, where it is where the emphasis is on exchange, consumer choice, and freedom, ideas that are echoed by those very market-based mechanisms. Let's talk about the book. The title of the reading is Media in the U.S. Political Economy, and the author named Edward Hillman. In this book, there are 2 key concerns, power and control, and the subject is propaganda mode. Part in the structure of the reading consists of 2 parts. The one part is 3 main sections, 3 alternative perspectives, the political, economic filters of mass media messages, the propaganda campaigns, and the mass media. Another part is some brief. And the author wrote the 3 workings of mass media. The first is no conservative school. It means media star's ability to command audiences, delivery, control, freedom of action. The next one is gatekeeping. In this point, the gatekeeper executives, the potential media professionals have further distance and space. The last one is propaganda model. In this point, 5 political economy filters filter out news. So what is a propaganda model? It strengthens mass media as part of the national power structure, and it pulls the threads together into an integrated whole. And then it gives more attention to the real interplay between the media and their sources, and to the purpose and the effects of new choices and propaganda campaigns. Proposition is in a system of wealth and power, the inequality in command of resource affects access to and the performance of, and a private media system. Money and power will penetrate the media by direct control or indirect influence, and will filter out the news thought unfit for most us to consider. Filters. The first one is the size and ownership of the mass media, and next is the advertising license to the business. The third one is sourcing mass media news. Next is the flag and the enforcers. The last one is anti-communist as a control mechanism. Next, let's go into these 5 filters deeply. The first is size and ownership of the mass media. The media companies are large profit-seeking corporations owned and controlled by very wealthy boards and individuals. This trend accelerated when the rules were loosened limiting media monopolies, cross-ownership of media in the same area of the country. The number of TV and radio stations the networks could own, and the media controlled by no-media companies. As the media companies' dependence on and ties with the government. The advertising license to the business. Advertisers and advertising influence the property and the survival of media organizations and media forms. Impact working class and radical media, primarily newspapers. The dumbing down of public service type programming. Sourcing mass media news is the third filters. There are 3 factors of sourcing accuracy. First, cost factors and matter interest. The second is information professionals, public relations, personnel or spin doctors. The next is molding the supply of experts. It is named propaganda effort. And the enforcers. There are 2 ways of sourcing filter involve the power structure in molding. One is funding the experts, and another one is establishing or sponsor research institutes, industry bodies, or policy think tanks. And communism as a control mechanism. Herman deals with the 5th filter in 4 stages. The first provides a historical context for this ideology. The second states how the ideology can be used to mobilize the population against perceived internal and external enemies. The third considers how the ideology is used in the provision of news, while the first considers kerosene of the ideology in the New World Order following the collapse of the Soviet-style communism. Next is propaganda campaigns. Major propaganda campaigns are not spontaneous. The government and mass media can also make a story that serves their needs into a major propaganda campaign. To model this theory, owner of the media, capital source of the media, news source, stress, ideology, these 5 filters filled out the news, and the news that we could see appearance. News and entertainment fail to meet the elite demands. America does not need to rely on official censorship of the media to ensure a patriotic agenda, as it is enabled by five-party economic filters, which ensure an effective and invisible propaganda system. But this theory also has limitations. The filtering process is not perfect. It cannot screen out all inconvenient facts and stories, and the elites disagree on ethics. Okay, my presentation is finished. Thank you for listening.